We're Silo Studio. My name is Oscar Lessing and this is Atua Aparicio. Our studio practice is looking at industrial processes and materials and taking them into the studio to use them in a much more hands-on kind of way. We kind of scale down what industry does into a more kind of bench area practice. But we often look at how industry makes things so we can adapt them for a more kind of new and different way of doing things. For this project, we were invited by the Crafts Council to work in the Humber region with the project title of the show was States of Play and our area was Freedom.
The starting point for this project was to work with companies based in Hull. We found Humber Galvanizing and Daifuku Logan, which are two companies with amazing skills to work with metals, and we wanted to work with both of them together to create something specific for the gallery.
We looked at the gallery in the area where this show is going to be hosted, which is at Humber Street Gallery, and the whole area used to be involved in fruit and vegetable trades. Daifuku Logan and Humber Galvanizing were on the list, and they're both specialising in metal work in general. One's an engineering company and the other processes metals with coatings of hot zinc. They're very specific and incredibly good at what they do. We wanted to kind of showcase the skills that were available and the relationships in Hull on the back of Hull 2017. Often what we are looking at is the mistakes in industry, things that they don't necessarily see as good outcomes. We like to see what we can do with the things that don't work quite as well as they should do. So often we're trying to engineer mistakes to create new ways of making. That for us is experimentation. We want to see new ways of making, and that's the way we do it, is by engineering these small mistakes. So we chose the pineapple because of its iconic status. I mean, it's never been grown properly in the UK commercially because it needs such a warm climate to grow. And Hull has always been a trading city, it's a port city, and Humber Street itself has always been involved in, or until recently, has been involved in the fruit trades. And so that was something that's really important to talk about all these things within the project. We are not experts in laser cutting and folding metal, and we're definitely not experts in dipping other bits of metal into hot zinc. That's something that Daifuku Logan are experts in and Humber Galvanizing are experts in. But what we can bring is something slightly different. We bring a naive approach. It's a hands-on, experimenting way of asking ourselves questions and not knowing the answers. And the only way of finding out is to explore it with our hands.
Our first visit to Humber Galvanizing, we saw that they have a few posters explaining failures in galvanizing, like things that don't work right for them as a quality control. And one of the things that they have in these posters is small holes. They don't like small holes because they tend to block when they get dipped into zinc. So we thought like, what's the smallest hole you can get to be able to block all of them, not just one. So that's how we thought of mesh and why we decided to work with it. For the body we use the finest steel mesh and we fold it. It behaves very much like fabric and paper. It's a mix between both. So it keeps the crease like paper, but it is flexible as fabric. So we fold it to try to replicate the pattern of the body of a pineapple. And for the leaves, we use a rougher stainless steel mesh that we cut into leaf shapes, and then we form them to give them the curvature of the leaves. Then once we have all the mesh ready, we clamp it to the stainless steel, and then we took it to Humber Galvanizing for dipping it into the zinc.
My name is Richard Speake. I'm the General Manager of Humber Galvanizing here in Hull. The City of Culture is something which is once in a lifetime. you know, and it's a generational thing which will no doubt never happen to this part of the world again. And we thought it was a massive opportunity for ourselves to participate and help with the promotion of that. The products are quite different than what we do. We galvanise anything from a washer right through to a 21 metre beam within the wedge group. These sort of things are very different to what we would normally galvanise, very different materials, but nevertheless it really does open your eyes to what can be galvanised once you see.
Through much discussion with the team there, we didn't know whether initially in the test this was going to work, whether the zinc would cover stainless steel, would catch in the pores of the woven mesh, but through testing of different thicknesses, what we got was something that was very surprising for us and surprising for Humber Galvanizing. And there's an element of randomness that's really important to us, where each piece is made exactly the same, but because the textile falls in a different way, everyone comes out slightly differently.
We've been very lucky to be given this freedom to work with both companies. Like, we love to have freedom to play in industries, but in this case it's been the first time that we have freedom to play in two different industries.
This project has been a great surprise for us. Often we don't know the ending of a project when we start it because we're working in an experimental area. But Daifukurogan, Humber Galvanizing and Humber Street Gallery have all been incredibly receptive to us and our sense of discovery in new ways of making, in the skills that are based within Hull, and looking outwards to make new possible ways of making. When people pass by in the street, they're going to have a small element of surprise. They're going to question how that's made and why it's there. That's something that's really important to us.